Okay, so picture this. You're in your 30s, your 40s, maybe even older. You've spent your entire life building a career, a social circle, a whole personality. And then, bam, a diagnosis lands in your lap. ADHD, autism, something that changes everything. And it doesn't just explain why you feel the way you do now, it completely rewrites your past and forces you to ask this huge question about the person you thought you were. And that's really the core of it all, isn't it? For decades, you've likely been performing, adapting, just trying to fit in, without even knowing why it felt so hard. So what happens when you're suddenly handed the reason, and that whole act you've been putting on just starts to crumble? So first, let's talk about what this mask actually is, because it's not like you woke up one day and decided to put on a costume. No, it's this incredibly complex survival tool that you built piece by piece over your entire life, using what experts call compensatory strategies. And the really crucial word here is unconsciously. These aren't just little habits. This is a deeply ingrained operating system. It's like you had to write your own unique software code just to function in a world that felt like it was running on a totally different system. And here's what that actually looks like in real life. I mean, do any of these sound familiar? Rehearsing phone calls over and over in your head, or consciously mimicking how other people stand or talk in a meeting? Maybe you've spent enormous energy just pretending that the loud music at a party wasn't physically painful. Each one of these things, it's like a tiny thread you use to weave that mask. Okay, so then comes the moment that flips everything on its head, the diagnosis. And this isn't just some note in a medical file. For your actual sense of who you are, it's a total earthquake. All of a sudden, everything just clicks. Remember all those times people called you too sensitive or lazy or just plain weird? Well, now there's a new context for all of it. Your struggles weren't some kind of personal failure. They were symptoms. It's like you've been handed the Rosetta Stone for your own life story. And wow, this quote just nails that feeling, doesn't it? You get this huge wave of relief, this incredible aha moment where your past finally makes sense. But then, right behind it, comes this chilling thought. If that's true, then the story I've been telling myself my whole life about who I am, it's not real. So all that confusion and disorientation, it leads right into the big one, a full-blown identity crisis. It feels like the very foundation you built your personality on has just crumbled. And you're left standing there, in the rubble, asking yourself, what was even real? And that brings us to the biggest question of all, right? If so much of your behavior, your reactions, your personality was a performance, a compensation, what's actually left when the curtain falls? That is such a vulnerable and frankly scary question to have to face. This chart really shows that internal tug of war perfectly. Life with the mask, yeah, it was absolutely exhausting, no doubt. But you know what? It was predictable. You knew the rules. It felt safe. But life without it, that promises authenticity, sure, maybe even liberation, but it's also completely, terrifyingly unknown. You're basically being asked to trade an identity you performed for a real one you haven't even met yet. So, how in the world do you navigate this? Well, the answer isn't to just rip the mask off all at once. It's a much more gentle process. Think of it like slowly, carefully loosening the strings. And this is so important to remember. That mask, it had a job to do. It protected you. It helped you survive for years. Just tearing it away dismisses how important it was. So the real goal isn't to destroy it. It's to get back in the driver's seat and make wearing it a choice, not an automatic reflex. So what does that journey actually look like? Well, we can break it down into 4 main stages. First, you've got to acknowledge the mask. Look at it and say, hey, thank you. You kept me safe. Then you have to let yourself grieve for the person you tried so hard to be. Next up is the scary but also exciting part, experimenting, trying out the real you in places you feel safe. And finally, and this one is huge, finding your people, connecting with others who just get it. You know, when you boil it all down, this whole process isn't about fixing something that was broken in you. It's more like you're finally getting to meet someone who's been waiting in the wings this whole time. It's a brand new introduction to your actual self. And I just love that way of thinking about it. See, you're not going backward to try and recover some lost self. You're just clearing away all the junk, all the noise, so you can finally hear the person who's been whispering underneath it all along. It's about discovery, not recovery. There's a huge difference. So let's leave you with this final idea. What if authenticity isn't about living without a mask entirely? Maybe real freedom is getting to a place where the mask stops being this heavy automatic burden you have to wear and instead becomes just another tool in your toolbox, a tool that you are in control of, a tool that you and only you get to decide when to use. The power, finally, is back in your hands.